Mike C. Live. Man, I am so glad to be with you here again today, regardless of everything that's going on around me. I am still very glad to be with you here today. I might not, I was just thinking, I was looking at myself on camera. I'm like, I really don't look as excited as I am. That's because I'm tired, y'all. I was up till 2:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning again, working on some stuff, just getting this stuff together. Again, IET with Mike C. We have gone 14 consecutive days live. This is our 14th day. Our vlog launches tomorrow, Monday, the 1st of June. IET will be live, and once we will not be live. I'm sorry, we'll just be launched. Once we launch tomorrow, we will not be going every day. We will be once a week. The vlog will be made available on Sunday, so that if you want to watch it before you go to work or whatever, don't try to watch it on your way to work unless you're on a train or something. We'll be once a week. And as I have said before, the vlog was not intended to be political at all. And I hope I haven't got political. I don't think that I have. But that wasn't the design of the vlog. The vlog is designed to where hopefully you can get some information, you can get some entertainment, and you can get some truth. And you have to remember, for me, the word of God is truth. Now, I don't beat anybody over the head with the Bible or anything like that. I try to live truth. I try to live my life in a manner that exhibits the wills of a man of God, someone who's following Christ. And look, I really don't want to insult anyone else. I'm not ashamed of my faith, and I will not back down from who I am, which is a man of Christ, a man of God. But I want everybody to be able to watch the show and not feel uncomfortable. All right. Now, COVID-19, it is still there. Right now, we're looking at over 103,000 people have died from COVID-19. And I spoke to a friend this morning that is clearly not taking this virus serious. And there's still a lot of people out. You know, what I try to do, even though we were shut in, I would try to get out once a week, get on my motorcycle. If it was raining, get in my car and take a drive. And drive out into the country, just drive around Dallas and the outskirts of Dallas. I did that yesterday. Beautiful day here in the Dallas area. 82, 83 degrees. You know, very little wind. Wasn't hot and definitely wasn't cold or chilly or anything. Beautiful day yesterday. So I got on my motorcycle and I took a ride around the outskirts of Dallas and just the countryside as well. Here's what I would tell you. I love Sacramento. I love California. One thing or a few things that California did over Dallas is, one, the rivers. The American River is beautiful. Sacramento River, Sacramento's got the rivers. The other thing is the mountains within close proximity. To be able to get in my car and go to the mountains and be in the mountains within 30 minutes, surrounded by snow in the wintertime, is beautiful. To be able to get in my car in the summertime and go up into the mountains, and you got the grass and the mountains and the trees and everything, it's beautiful. I miss that about California, about Sacramento. But let me tell you about Dallas. What Dallas does have is lakes. And I'm not talking about small, I'm talking about large lakes. I actually drove by and around 2 or 3 of them yesterday, and I finished my trip at one of the lakes. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. On one of the vlogs, I'm going to show some of the footage. Now, I'm having some problems with my drone, but I should be able to take care of that today or tomorrow. And I'm going to go out to the lakes, and I'm going to get some drone footage and let you see what I'm talking about, so you can see the beauty in the Dallas area when it comes to nature. It is absolutely beautiful. But something else I noticed yesterday when I got out to the lakes. Now, the same friend I was talking to, people on boats, why do they need masks on a boat? Well, depends on who's on the boat with you. If you're on the boat with somebody who you're living in the same household, you know where they've been and where they haven't been, you don't need a mask, I agree. But if you're on a boat with some friends and you don't know where they've been, who they've been around, If you're on the shores and you're around people who you don't know where they've been, who they've been around, because no one out at the lake in boats, or obviously in boats, but on shore, was practicing safe habits as far as social distancing. That wasn't happening. And I'm not going to knock you, but I'm going to tell you, don't come close to me. Even though most states are open, all states are open to some degree. I'm still going to practice safe rather than sorry, because I know this. I know that people are still dying every day from COVID-19. I know that people who aren't dying, a lot of them are going through a lot of suffering. Have you heard about what a person who has COVID-19, what they go through? Nothing nice. Nothing nice. So I'm going to continue to be safe rather than sorry, protecting not only myself with my practices, but others as well. Because whether you know it or not, when you're not practicing social distancing, you're being pretty selfish. Being pretty selfish. So practice safe rather than sorry. Entertainment wise, sports wise, nothing new. I'm still opposed to the total opening up of practice and training for college and high school athletes. These universities cannot ensure the safety of these young folk. And look, young people are dying from this virus as well. So just continue to be safe rather than sorry. A lot of entertainers, man, are dying from this thing. Look, we got to talk about. Well, let me share this with you. I do have a guest that was going to come on, that agreed to come on the show today, and that is the president of the Sacramento branch of the NAACP. Betty Williams was going to come on today, and we were going to talk live with you. She's not on because I have Ecamm Live. That's the software that I use to be able to do this with YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and everybody else. And with Ecamm Live, Skype is kind of in partnership, so it's not a problem. Zoom is not quite there yet, and Betty is on Zoom, so my skills aren't there yet to be able to do live on Zoom. Although I can record, I can do a recording. So she's going to come on. We're going to do it either today or tomorrow. If we do it today, I'll air it tomorrow. If we do it later than today, I'll air it next week. But Betty Williams, who is the president of the Sacramento branch of the NAACP, is going to come on, as well as my good friend, longtime friend, one of the most intelligent women I have ever met in my life, Anita Royston. She is the president of the NAACP of a town, I guess you could say, in Virginia, Pennsylvania. And, you know, I was spelling it out and she was spelling it out for me. And when I looked at it, I'm like, Pennsylvania? That looks like something one of my country cousins would try to spell when they're trying to spell Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. It never heard of Pennsylvania. I don't know if I would. I'll just leave that alone. I'll leave it alone. But Anita, who is extremely intelligent, and that community is very blessed to get her as the president of their local branch of the NAACP. Anita is also going to come on. We'll record that, and we will. She said something, y'all, that was just, to me, it's just like, man, you got to come on and talk about that. I'm just going to give you a bit of it. What she basically said was, it used to be, she said, when I was young, when we were young, back in the day, when you talked about parents having to talk with their child or children, you know what that meant. Everybody knew what that meant. You had to talk yet? Your mom and dad had to talk with you yet? Talking about sex. You had to talk about sex. But now, in the black community, in the brown community, when you talk about have you had that talk yet, it's totally different. It's talking about training your kids how to respond when they come across the police. Because if they don't respond properly, they could lose their life. Where man, that's the world that we're in right now. That's the state of this world that we're in right now. Also, a friend of mine called me this morning, and she was angry. She was upset, and what it was about was there is a police officer from Canada who put up a Facebook post, and there was nothing wrong with his post. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to commend him on it. Okay. Basically, what he said was he talked about George Floyd's the killing of George Floyd. He talked about the killing there, and he said it wasn't right, and he said that that police officer needs to be incarcerated. But what he said was he was asking people to recognize that that is not 99% of the police officers. He talked about how 99% of police officers want to do what they were hired to do, and that's serve and protect, which did not happen here. Um, and he said that he's not like that, and 99% of police are not like that. I commend him on that, but what I want to tell him is this: that 99% is way off. I do believe that the majority of police are good, but it's not 99%. And I also believe this: it depends on where you're at. There are certain areas, and I've known this since I was a kid. There are certain areas of Sacramento where when black people go in those areas, black people who live there tell them, hey man, be ready. Got to watch out for the popo out here. You know, they ain't no joke. There are certain areas down south. Matter of fact, it used to be just the whole South period when it came to police. You know, I'm not going to say that they were all bad, but it was probably more bad than good back in the day. And when I say bad, most people might not consider them bad people, but when it came to us, when it came to black and brown folks, they were bad. I mean, how many times have you seen movies about the Temptations and different African American groups that when they went through the South, how they were treated by police? It was a common occurrence. Look, back then, black folk couldn't even stay in hotels. You know, if Airbnb were around back then, it would not have included us. So that 99% that the officer spoke of, I think that that is way, way off, and especially in certain areas. But I'm gonna tell you what. I'll just tell you this. I'll speak on one of the areas. One of the areas, and I'm not saying it's like this. I haven't lived in Sacramento in 3 years, and it probably changed before that. But Roseville, California, black folk know that when you're in Roseville, man, be careful. Something else. Something else. Um, who was it? Well, I was watching one of the networks last night, and there was a young man who was one of the protesters. And I commend the reporter on how he handled it. He let that young man speak and say what was on his heart. And the question was a good question, too. He asked him about the looters and the rioting. And basically, I was going to try to run it. Basically, I was going to try to run the video. Basically, what that young man said was he looked right at the camera and he spoke to those that are doing that, and he called them selfish, and he let you know that they did not represent him. Why is that important? I talked about it a little bit yesterday. Here's what happens. You have young people, and man, I commend y'all. I believe that most of the marches have been organized by Black Lives Matter. I commend you on that, Black Lives Matter, because young people of all nationalities are out marching, protesting. And guess what? They're doing the right thing. But you have a few doing the wrong thing. And I personally don't believe that the few there are part of Black Lives Matter. When you have something as big as this, like this coming up, that's going on across the country, young folks will come out. Even the young folks that are not, who are not participating, who are not part of the organizational structure that is doing this, they still come out. They come out in droves. And so when they see something, they just participate. You know, when I saw the looting, I don't think that those were members of Black Lives Matter or members of the protesters and the marchers. So the problem is that most people don't understand that and don't recognize that, especially when you have so-called leaders I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. I can't. I'm having a difficult time getting past that. But I was really impressed with a reporter, and I don't really like to call out media names because I am one who believes that the media has not necessarily favored us as African Americans. I am one who believes that what the media does is they use us to, and not just us, they use anybody to up their ratings and whatnot. You know, you have to realize and understand that those are businesses and they're in business to make money. And how they make money is by having high ratings. The higher their ratings, the more that they can charge for advertising. So they haven't favored us. And long as you remember that they are not your friend, they are not. You might have friends who are part of the media, but the media as a whole is not your friend. But they can be your advocate. Okay, but you have to know how to make that work. I learned that when I was a manager in the music business. So point I'm making is there was a reporter on CNN. There was one reporter who, like I said, who spoke to that young man and let him say it. The young man was very articulate. He saw that after a few minutes. The reporter saw that. So he said, hey, let me get this guy to talk. And he talked. Go to CNN and look for it yourself. Young man speaking to the looters and the rioters. And he calls them selfish, and he makes it clear that they are not with him and part of his group and what they're doing. I was very impressed with that. Look, I have friends, very good friends, who are Trump supporters, some even African American. I'm just totally bedazzled. I'm confused by that. I don't understand that. Um, and I was told one thing I can't get past with the president is when he made the statement a couple of years ago in Charlottesville, there are good people on both sides. Like I said before, there were protesters, folks who were protesting um, killings of police killing unarmed black men. They were protesting that. They were protesting asking for justice. And then on the other side, you had KKK members, white supremacists, and Nazis. Those were the two sides. That should be clear. There was no other sides. Those were the two sides who were in opposition that day when that lady was killed by a white supremacist or a KK member. She was killed, run over, purposely ran over. You could see it in the video, okay? And our president makes the statement that there were good people on both sides. The same president made a statement the other day: when the looting starts, the shooting starts. And I was told by one of my friends he didn't say that. He said that. You can watch the video, you can read about it. He said that. And my friend said, well, you know, he was, and this is what his people are trying to say. He was taking out of context. That's not what he meant. What's that saying? If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. If it walks like a white supremacist and quacks like a white supremacist, it's a white supremacist. If you have a history of not treating black people and brown people fairly, you've been sued by the U.S. government at least twice for that. One time in 1973 and another time in 1978. If that's your history, if you say that the only black president, the first black president that this country has ever had, is not from this country, if you are trying to keep brown people and black people out of the country, but then when it comes to white people, you say those are the people that we want, these are good people, but when it comes to African countries, they're shithole countries. If that's your history, and you're talking about the looters and the rioters, and then in the next breath you say, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. And when that is a statement that was made by a white racist sheriff in Florida, you can't claim ignorance in my book. You can't claim ignorance. And your people can say all they want to that you were taken out of context. I believe you know exactly what you're saying. When you instigate a black man to get hit in the face at one of your, I'm going to call riots, but they're not necessarily riots, one of your rallies by saying that you'll pay their bail or whatever. Come on, people. And you're going to continue to say that's not what he meant. Here's what I'm going to tell you. If you're going to stay in the dark, if you're going to continue to support wrong, you're wrong. If you're going to continue to support division and racism, then you yourself are a divider. And you got to have some form of racism in you. Got to. This president, again, I did not intend for this to be political. And I'm not being political right now. What I'm being is an American. And I'm speaking my mind as an American. I'm sharing with you what I see and hear as American. Some of what I think, but I'm sharing with you what I have heard come out of the mouth of this president with my own ears. I'm going to share this with you also. Young people are tired. Old people are tired. Middle-aged people are tired. Are you tired? Are you tired? Because if you are, you should be doing something, even if it's just speaking out. You know what you can do? You can stop supporting racism. You can stop supporting division. That's what you can do. We can all do that. We can all do that. This is not right. What's happening in this country and has continued to happen is not right. Look, I thought for sure that those police officers that beat Rodney King down to the ground and continued to beat him worse than if he was a dog. I saw it with my own eyes. America, we saw it with our own eyes. We saw the lack of justice. We saw the lack of mercy. We saw the lack of empathy. We saw it with our own eyes. And those police officers got off. They got off because his attorneys knew what they were doing, getting that case moved to, I forget what that area is called, but it was a predominantly white area, predominantly far white too, but right-wing Republican. That's what that area is made of. And they got off. So right now you might say, well, the police officer, he was arrested. You might say the other guys were fired along with him. So why don't these guys get out of the streets? Why? Because of what happened to Rodney King. Because those officers got off. Man, young folk, y'all stay out there in the streets. I support you. I don't support the looters and the rioters. I think that they should be arrested. Catch them, because they're taken away from the cause of what those young folks are doing. Don't let them take what they're doing, take your focus away from George Floyd, what happened to him, and justice for him and his family. Today's a Sabbath. I wasn't going to go long also because of that. So yeah, we're almost done anyhow, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it here. Man, I hope that you and your family, you and your loved ones are blessed and continue to be blessed. Stay safe, y'all. Stay safe. And please, please, don't forget the cause. Don't forget the reason. Don't forget I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Don't forget George Floyd and all of those who were killed